Ooh, a lot of joy. I don't have any mixed music ready. And welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host. Eight Wind is timeless. I am the holder of the continuous ball game of the Hero Twins. For me, it all starts with a gentle sadness. I am the Galactic Daddy-O sitting on my terrace pyramid galactic patio. Funk and Telica. Sebastian, thank you. Yes, I am trying to start to bring it, Sebastian. So, hasn't a lot hasn't went on this week up here in Minnesota. Roughly, probably hour away. James, thank you for joining me. Roughly an hour away from here, they had the shooting it was in Buffalo, I believe. Buffalo's, it's not quite an hour. It's about 50 minutes. My friend lives down there. But they had a shooting at their clinic. Somebody attacked the clinic. And I guess it was a veteran that had problems with other people. So I guess that's what it was all about. Preston. Hey, it's doing it, baby. It's doing it. So yeah, that's kind of made the national news today. Killed one person and hurt another. And I guess this cat had went through several different clinics. So not sure of what caused the problem, but no telling here. But yeah, that's what's happening up here today. And one thing I can show you about here is it ain't been playing. It has not been playing up here weather-wise. It gets sunny. Yeah, but right now it's -6. It's going to get cold as -11 by 8 a.m. So by the time my little one gets ready to go to school, it'll still be freezing. And the good thing is, I'll be in my bed. I won't be freezing. But by the time I pick her up, it'll be a high of 0. So it says high of 9, but let's see. That high of 9, yeah. I don't know where they get high of 9. Right here, it's got high of. It's not going to get more than high of 2, 0. 0 will be the high today. It's going to be really cold. Wind chill advisory again. From tonight until tomorrow, wind chill advisory remains in effect. Very cold, chills expected. Wind chill as low as 30 degrees below 0 until 9 in the morning. So it's going to be extremely cold tonight. That's why they always say that take extra clothing, make sure your cell phones is charged. And that's why my children, especially my youngest 2 sons, they don't, they act like my son said the other night. He said, I'm going to be in a 2019 Navigator that young man on the reservation drives. But it's just like you can't, like yesterday, he went to my mother's 80th birthday was yesterday. And so we go out, he's wearing shorts, and he has Van socks on and Van shoes, which he wanted to show off to his older brother. He had a big, heavy coat on. But the point he was doing was he wanted to show these clothes off to his brother. And it ain't the weather for that. Now, I know of 2 mailmen. They would battle to see who could wear shorts the longest. I used to know a trainer. He did wear shorts all year round. He was in Michigan. I imagine this old cat, he'd have to be in his 80s, if not 90s now. He's an old cat 20 years ago. Not more than 20 years ago. He's old. So, but again, that's what he was used to. So, but it's blistery to say the least. But you live here, it gets sunny, and you move through it. A couple of things I want to bring up. Now, they killed 2 other people because of the Super Bowl ritual that we have to add. because one person that I was surprised that made it, because I saw right through that being a Super Bowl ritual, was Marty Schottenheimer. And I didn't count Marty Schottenheimer, which would make 24. He had dementia, and I expected him to die Saturday, but he had dementia. He made it, but he was an ex-coach, and I just knew he was going to be a Kansas City sacrifice because he coached the Chiefs, I want to say, before Andy Reid went down there. And maybe it was one of the person that didn't last long, but I want to say that he was before Andy Reid, but I could be wrong. But he went into hospice like Friday night, so I'm surprised he made it until I think they officially said either late Sunday or Monday. But he's still in it. He still has to be considered a Super Bowl ritual. The other one, though, that is the biggest one that they waited till Monday was Mary Wilson. Mary Wilson was definitely a ritual. Mary Wilson a couple of days ago was talking about getting ready to record new music and meeting with producers. And the way they describe it, she just dies in her bed. Unknown causes. Wasn't sick. Matter of fact, you can see her on YouTube a couple of days ago. Well, nothing wrong with her. Just Google her. It's a couple of days ago. She's telling about new music coming. And she passed. So that was definitely tied into the Super Bowl. Again, this woman grew up in Detroit. She was one of the founding fathers of the Supremes. Her and Florence Ballard, they brought in, her name was Diane and not Diana, before Diana became Diana and started screwing Berry Gordy. She was Diane Ross. I want to say they all went to Caltech, Detroit Tech. Again, I've told the story about Florence Ballard being raped as a young girl by the pro basketball player Reggie Harding. Tammy Terrell of Ain't No Mountain High Enough, at about 14 or 15, she was raped by 3 men in the field. And then abusive relationship after abusive relationship. The Temptations show her being with an abusive relationship with David Ruffin. But when she was 16 or 17, she was already living with James Brown. And James Brown had beat her as well. And we know she ended up having, they say David Ruffin hit her in the head with a motorcycle helmet. And they say that James Brown physically just beat her up. And we know Tammy Terrell died of brain cancer at 24. Some people point at the motorcycle helmet. But Mary Wilson, sudden death of an otherwise healthy-looking woman. Hey, Strong Discernment, thank you for joining me. This appears very suspect, and we know it's part of the ritual that went into it, which would put, again, all the deaths up to 24, with Schottenheimer being the last. But again, he's got to be tied into this. See, I think what they wanted to say, okay, this is a little separation. This ain't connected to that, but everybody knows it is connected. We're not fooled. We're not fooled. These entertainers so close to the Super Bowl, they're part of it. So more blood was spilled. And then a little bit more about Mary Wilson. Mary Wilson, what they did with a lot of these women, hey, Preston, thank you for joining. Hey, Jeffrey. Oh, okay. I placed down 45 on my parlay and the Milwaukee Bucks lost. Yeah, he had shooters around it. Why did he take the shot? He had shooters around him. DiVincenzo had a good shooting night. Who was the other? Number 7, the guy from Michigan State. He had a good shooting night. You got the big fella shooting the fadeaway. You really think he was trying to win? He wasn't trying to win. He definitely was not trying to win. So we see what happens. So not surprised. Timberwolves lost and I don't think they're having fans here. I'm seeing stadiums around the country with fans, and I'm looking at the Timberwolves game. They never show fans the whole night. Even naturally with fans, I mean, they have a certain shot that doesn't show a whole lot of the fans, but didn't appear so. Didn't appear like any fan, so I don't know what the state thing is here. So they didn't have it tonight. But the Timberwolves, actually, Beasley has a decent game. And I don't know if y'all heard about what Beasley's going to get done. Beasley got 120 days in the county. I think the workhouse. More than likely, they're going to give him home confinement. But he got 120 days. As soon as basketball season ends, he's going to do 120 days for having a gun and marijuana or some shit that he got caught with. But yeah, they came down with his thing. So he's probably going to get home confinement. And for some reason, he's 26 and is going with 40-some-year-old Scottie Pippen's ex. Don't see the traction because last time I knew, 26-year-old women still look very good. 26-year-old man can kind of move from 20 to 24, 25. I don't get why you would skip the young girls and go for her. She's not getting child support anymore. I doubt she's getting alimony anymore. I don't know. California laws are messed up. Maybe she's getting alimony, but I just don't see the attraction. She's not that pretty a woman. But again, there's a sucker born every minute. That's Beasley's handler. That's a good point, too. That's a good point. I thought the same thing because he's playing well. And so that's a good point. That is a good point. Strong discernment. They get assigned around. Yes, they do. And you really saw the same thing with the Kardashian sisters where they was just passed around. Khloe was going with Keith McCants. Remember his claim to fame as they won in North Carolina? Then he went to the Timberwolves and flamed out. He played, I know he didn't get pension money. He played 3 full seasons. Not a bad guy. Not very tall, 6'4", maybe. Credible athletic ability, but he flamed out and didn't play very well. And he was passed through her. Tristan Thompson wasn't real marriage. Again, and then he wore the shirt with the stripes on. They're already setting him up for a career past basketball. Look at Perkins. Did anybody expect to hear Perkins be an analysis? It's like they tried to find another. What is the word? They tried to find another Barkley. And then I did a video of Perkins spitting up. Well, when you got a big beard, you got to be rough, but he's spitting up on camera. And Paul Pierce is laughing at him while he spits up. So but not hating. And then poor Jim Brown. It's just like, think about this. Do you know how much effort it took to get that 80-something-year-old man to be on TV for 5 minutes? You know everything they got to do to get that 80-some-year-old man to be on TV for 5 minutes. You got to give him his medicine. You got to give him whatever makeup and make sure he's alert. Probably give him some coffee or a B12 shot. Hey, Brian. Yeah, well, McCants was the youngest in the big three. And then now the big three's open to everybody. That's why the boy here, the young man here, Royce White, it was in it. Royce White tripped out because he couldn't fly. But Royce White flamed out a little bit. Royce White was with Tubby, and Royce had got caught stealing. He won a state title with DeWatt High. It's a high school right downtown. It's a private high school. I'm pretty sure it's a Jesuit high school. But he won a state title or 2 with that school. They put him out. He went up to one of our high school basketball powers is Hopkins. He ended up winning a state title with Hopkins. He killed Rodney Williams Jr., which went to where was going to school where my son was a freshman. Rodney Jr. was a senior, and Royce just tore him apart. In reality, when Royce was playing with Iowa, Royce put it on the champions, the eventual champions, Kentucky. The big fella, what's his name, Allen? The big fella playing with LeBron now, Davis. Royce killed them. I mean, yeah, they got beat, but Royce put it on them, and he was picked in the first round. But Royce again got caught stealing here. He was originally going to the University of Minnesota, and they claim he stole a laptop. They claim he stole some shit at his previous school while he had to go to Hopkins. So, and he wasn't a poor child, which made no sense. But he got caught stealing a couple times. Matter of fact, he got caught stealing at Nordstrom's. He got caught stealing at Nordstrom's, and then he got caught stealing the laptop, which more than likely they set him up. Here's a kind of related story. I knew a brother that in the 60s was a kleptomaniac. He was the first kleptomaniac I'd ever heard of. I mean, this dude just couldn't help but steal. And on the other hand, this guy was a top athlete at Western Michigan University. He was a all-conference basketball player. He was an all-conference baseball player. And this guy was just such a klepto where they set it up where he could steal a purse and they was filming him. And I mean, filming him in the 60s. And damn if this dummy didn't do it. And it cost him his basketball career. I think he played semi-pro baseball for the Lions. And I'm not going to say his name because he died young. But this cat later went on to be, I'm sure he motivated a lot of my crew that ref later. I'm sure he did. But it was just funny that the guy was a klepto, just couldn't help but stealing. Now, some people say that kleptomaniacs can be caused by milk. I don't know if anybody's ever heard that before, that drinking milk can cause people to steal. I don't know. But yeah, Royce was playing in that league, and Royce wasn't probably 30. I doubt it. I doubt Royce was 30. Trying to think who else. But yeah, they opened everybody up to being able to play there. I mean, they're getting paid. And it's kind of again, it's what they did is when you watch that big three, what you're looking at is a person that stole the Gus Macker. That's what you're looking at. The Gus Macker was the exact same thing. Had pros playing in it, college all-stars, pros, and they took it. He had different venues all around the country. His peak was probably, my son was born in 95. I think it started in 80. Let me think. Yeah, 88, 89, maybe 85, 86. By his peak, he had like 30, 40 tournaments. He would go all around the country. And at one point, we would follow the tournaments. Very inexpensive. It was like maybe $100 to get in, and we would follow all the tournaments. And I always played in the top tournaments. And I was in my 30s playing against young cats. And when they had it in Battle Creek, in the 6 years they had it in Battle Creek, I was in the championship of the top tournament every year. I think, no, the first year they had it, we ended up getting third place. And we had a good chance to win it. But my big guy caught an elbow in the nose. Like, dude had the ball and he kind of cleared out, and my guy was on him and just caught him in the nose. But during that game, we was already guaranteed third place. Had already stepped up. And sure enough, matter of fact, my big guy didn't show up to go for second place, to go into the championship, because you had to lose twice. And so when we came back, because we had a break, and when we came back because it was our second loss to see who was going to play in the championship, my big dude didn't show up. Aaron Cusick didn't show up. But every other year, one year it was snowing. One year we won the championship of the Gus Macker, it was snowing. It was snowing on us. We're out there, and this is May. This is May in Michigan, and we go out there that morning, and it is snowing. We are full sweats. And we played a very tough team. There's a young boy I used to know named Ryan that could fill it up. He killed my one friend that could really go. He just put it on him. So in that game, we lost. We're in the championship game. Again, you have to lose twice. So my best player he missed the first game because he was the kind of Superman dude. He would go play a softball game, then he would drive however quick back to the basketball, then play basketball. So we had lost. We had won. How did it go? We had lost the first game without Rob. And then Rob comes back and we won 2 games. But Ryan put it on him. Ryan put it on Rob. He was killing him. But we were able to put enough pressure on everybody else to put it on him. So we was able to win that year. Even the 1 year we got second. I've maybe told this story before. We get second, and one of my players was an ex-Iowa Hawkeye, Kenyon Murray. Kenyon Murray was player of the year in Michigan 1 year, and we end up getting second. But we got the second place. Everybody gets individual trophies and plaques. But then they mess around, give us what is it called? Sportsmanship. Then they give us the sportsmanship, which is another plaque and individual trophies. So I come out of there holding 2 plaques and 2 trophies, which so something like Rosie Perez said, sometime when you lose, you actually win. It's one of those kind of deals. But that was just how much I played. You know, I played that much. That's why people are getting, they are taking, well, I don't doubt any of that, Jeffrey. How can people, I don't doubt any of that. I think you've got a point, especially about the Fort. There's something going down. Super Bowl ratings took a dip. Damn, I just look up Fort Hood. Sounds like a chop shop. Yeah, it's been 7 or 8 killings there. Yeah, but strong discernment. I saw that too. Their share. It's a continued thing in all of the sports. They're all taking a beating like that. And you see, that's why I made that short video about Cuban. You see that Cuban wasn't doing the national anthem. And my video speaks for itself. I don't have to say any much about it. They know who that national anthem is. It ain't got nothing to do with this country. Nothing. It has to do with really one group. I call it 2 groups, but it's just one group. We know it. We know who that group is. So that's who you sit there for. And that's the problem with Kaepernick. Kaepernick convinced everybody to kneel. Because at first he sat down. He did what we did in the 60s. I mean, seriously, we would go to packed games. Now, if it was a kind of mixed neighborhood, you know, again, against mostly melanated people, against European teams, yeah, it would literally, and say, like my high school gym probably held 2,500 people. It wasn't one of like them gyms you see in California for high school, which in Michigan is considered junior high. Gyms are even elementary school gyms, to be honest. We have some elementary school gyms that look like the gyms they play high school ball in California. Michigan, we have big gyms. We have the lower level and an upper level to sit. Nothing like that California stuff where everybody on top. Now in Detroit, it's like that. Detroit, they got them small gyms, kind of like you see out in the East Coast and stuff too. But so the national anthem would come on and you'd see all the European people stand up and you'd look on the other side with nobody be up. Everybody sit down. College was the same way, but Western Michigan, it was the same way. There was a student center where all the melanated people sat, and even where the brothers was sat throughout Western Michigan, which held about 15 to 20,000 people, you would see the brothers and sisters not stand up. And that didn't really stop, I would say, until I was forced as a junior, probably as a sophomore too. We were forced to stand up. So what Kaepernick did is made you bow to them. He made everyone bow to them. So, and you see they put pressure on Cuban. Cuban tested their ass. And you see they put pressure on it. The game will be played. Doesn't that sound like what Jewish faith people would say and what Jesuits would say? It will be played. You ordering a billionaire. How is the commissioner ain't a billionaire. How's he ordering this billionaire? You ain't going to take his stuff away. You can't fine him. He got too much money. The fine ain't, you couldn't fine him enough to hurt him. They tried to hurt him before and he donated. Remember he worked at the hamburger place or something? So not a lot you can do to that man. But I'm glad he bucked back at him. Evening, the one, thank you for joining, because dealing with the military, you know, crimes in military don't get news like that. It's really about the time to take a stand. Yeah, Preston, it kind of is, but that's the thing. It's one part at a time. That's why we know the joke that was done in early January. That was a joke. Again, I've said before, it ain't real deal people. That ain't real deal people that rushed that place. That was set up by the Dems and nothing less. Who's writing me this late? Okay, this is about nothing. my health people are gonna send me something at what time is it? At 12:30. It's so ridiculous. But little stands. That's the thing. Everybody take little stands. The stands that you can take. See what the real battles is. And the real battle is your spiritual self. That's the real battle. Is don't live in fear. live by your intentions. As I was telling a friend, and I'll share this. So the ethers and astro, it ain't the only thing. I'll show you this too. It's not the only way to move. I know for most people, that's what you hear is the ethers and the astral plane. But there's several ways to move. And something people may not speak of is there's something behind that. It's like when you break through that, there is a reality that is just, again, if you close your eyes in your complete darkness, you can break through the reality and you'll see just the bluest of blue reality with your eyes closed and no sun. You'll see a clear day with no sun. And I'm not saying that reality doesn't have a sun, but what I'm saying is you can achieve getting into that without a sun. You break through and you're like looking at a clear day, and the reality is the bluest blue day you would ever see. And sometimes you only get glimpses of this. I blow big stacks. Now, I talk about this all the time. And I'll say this. This book comes probably with a keeper. I'm going to give that disclaimer. Books are basically, olden books definitely had types of spells in it. This book does come with a keeper, especially if you're serious. I was checked out by some of these women. I'm, again, in one of these planes, and the women are there. And I was able to check them out. And I talked about this a week ago. So I was dealing with some fairies, and out of nowhere, a door opened up, and one of these Zahars women handed me some information. And it was like, I've talked about this before. This was one of the coolest things because it's like it interrupted this astro stuff and like opened up a door out of nowhere. I had never experienced that before. If I didn't say that last time I mentioned that, it opened this thing up like, oh, so you can use that to circumvent all this. So this is powerful information. You don't need the blood to move. It says about blood, you don't need that because at the end of the book, and I've still been trying to flip and find that part, so I want to read it one day. You don't need blood to move in the Zar world. And I think that's where Balmer got it wrong. He talks about the blood. You don't need it. He kind of glosses over the girl moving without the blood, but you don't need blood. But this is another way to move. It's another ability that we all can achieve. So sometimes when you close your eyes, it looks like stars in the night. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Marcus the Great, thank you for joining me. People will never take a stand because, no, I'm not either. But that's the thing is be on top of your spiritual self. Because the step beyond this ain't death. And I heard somebody saying earlier that reincarnation can be, I think Darlene on Corey Holcomb's show said she thought that when you reincarnated, you was penalized. And I kind of agree with that somewhat. It does appear like a kind of penalty to have to replay, because what happens is you go through your whole life. See, what they try to tell you is first you was an ant, then you become a pig, then and it's really not like that. I think it is a type of penalty because what happens is you get all this knowledge, you gain all this knowledge, and then you got to start all over again. You get to the peak, but it's like instead of you moving on, you get a replay. So that is a penalty. I do agree when she said that about being penalized. I think so. I think she's right as well. I think that's some of it too. You get penalized. And so reincarnation isn't the final thing. There's more to it. And that I would say that's not the ultimate achievement. There's other things that we should strive for, and you should put your spiritual powers to use. Don't be limited by that idea. It's rather strong. We are incarcerated as humans, but others are incarcerated in other forms, entities. I say where I would agree. Like, there's this show I started watching it for a little bit, and it was called Ritual. And it's a little bit like Bedazzled. It's a lot like Bedazzled, actually. But it shows the two powers fighting, the good and the bad, fighting for this actor. And in that regard, one's supposed to be an angel. I didn't watch it. I get bored with movies very quickly. But one was an angel, don't know which side he was on, didn't watch the movie long enough. Then another one came. But that would go to what you say, strong discernment. If you have guardian angels, and saying the guardian angels always have to be guardian angels, or the family line of guardian angels had to stay with certain family members, they would kind of be locked into it as well. Depending on the family's ability, I think the family could disengage when the final one is made it. I guess is the word. I don't. So if you get my point, what I'm trying to say is, in a way, yes, you're right about that. Some would be here permanently. I mean, even if you look at a one or the other, the positive and the negative aspect that they say that are gods or ghouls, they would be trapped here as well. If you dig what I'm saying, they would all be trapped here as well. If you believe in all that dogma, they would seem to be. We would move on, but they would have to stay here. Because again, where are they king? Whose kingdom is this? This is supposed to be their kingdom. So do you see how they would be tied into it? That's what I'm saying. We really don't have to. That's part of going into the light. That's part of going to the light, because the light could take you for a replay. So why would you want the loop? And that's what you got to look at is a type of loop that they want you to continuously do. Like you're striving for more. But how can you perfect yourself if you're restarting all over again and not saying what conditions you're put in? Because it can be different conditions. If you're born into a kingdom, your conditions are going to be pretty favorable. I mean, again, being spoiled and going through that system. So you don't have to do it again. And I wouldn't strive for that. Strive for your own perfection. Yeah, that's the best way I could say it. Strive for your own perfection. You can create your own. And so just live by your intentions. Meditate. Meditate is one thing that's free. You don't really have to be taught how to do it. Again, I've talked for years about blinking your eyes can be a meditation. You can meditate around people. When you get into mirrors and you get into crystal balls, you're meditating with your eyes open. So there's no one way to do it. Now, to make it stronger, better, can people kind of lead you to that? Absolutely. Absolutely. There are practices that can kind of show you how to get deeper into it. And if you, like me, I have asthma, so I can't be a heavy breather like that. I have that disease where I can't be conscious of breathing. It causes anxiety attacks or panic attacks because I've just so long suffered from being conscious of my breathing. So I can't really concentrate on my breathing. There's other things I have to concentrate. Now I'll do cleansing breaths, and cleansing breaths can get you deeper into yourself. So if you're failing at the breathing, don't look at it as a fail. Find your way. I mean, everyone here is just trying to give you pointers on how to find your own way and do what's best for you. So these are the kind of things that I like to share. I mean, you are your own You are the good. You really are. If you look at how you deal with everything. The other part is the really the illusionary aspect of it, which I've talked about all the time. I mean, that's why I give the practice, and I've got to do a single one and put it out there. So just 10 minutes where people can 10 minutes find it. I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that in the next couple of days. But that shows you in itself, because you can achieve that. You can pop yourself out. You can be up with your ceiling. You can go through the ceiling and be outside. You can go up in the atmosphere. That, because you can do these things, that shows you it's kind of, and even though you're saying you're in the ethers or the astro, or even somewhat the czar, it shows you the illusionary aspect of it, because those practices take advantage of the illusion. Because this thing, there's a thing I want to talk to people about when they want to call it dark matter. Like I was getting into with my son about gravitation, gravity. Gravity is not true. Gravity is not true. There are places on this earth where water will go up, where tall ain't always the tallest. Balls will roll up. Now, if gravity was a real thing, something like that would not exist. And they give you reasons why these exist. There's places all over the world that's like this. But if gravity was real, and see, they want you to believe so much into matter that they want to call it dark matter and dark matter energy. Because again, they need matter to make all this matter. And I'm the one that coined the phrase, matter doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't. There's no matter in the quantum. There's no matter in Tsar movement or the asteroid ethers. You are not dealing with matter. You are going above the atoms, your energy signature, your fragment of energy. You're in your true self. And so you don't care about dark matter or dark matter energy. You shouldn't care about this. Gravity is a lie, illusionary, a lie. They try to tell you the planet's got gravitational pull. Well, you get near that planet, we send our asteroid out there, we send our Sputnik out there, and it's going to whip around one planet, and that's gravity. By golly. Do we really believe they got shit flying out there? So they can only fly something this big out to deep space. They show you all that Star Trek shit. And we know that matter cannot go faster than the speed of light. There's nothing they can make on this earth. They can tell you warp drive, nothing. Nothing they can make on this planet can go faster than their light. Nothing. It's impossible. They try to say, well, you can use this. No, you can't. Because light is their boundary. Again, time walkers walk on light. They cut light in two and create color. But this is what matter depends on. So matter has to live by, if it's made on earth, it can never go faster than light. Oh, ziggity, got the juice. Thank you. No gravity, no magnetism. There you go. Didn't the Gnostics think matter was a curse? Rocky. Yeah, they talk a little bit about that. They do talk a little bit about that as saying you're restricted because of it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good. Thank you for adding that. Well, do I trust anyone? I don't know. People are unpredictable. I can't say I'm a very trusting. I'm suspect of everybody. I'm not surprised. I save a woman from a life of drug addiction, and this woman turns and lies in court, saying these vicious things about me, only that she thought that she would win. But that just shows you. Here a person would be lost if left. Lost if left. And so But it just shows you, you never know. People will use any little thing. Something may come up in your life that just seems like it's not that big a deal. And people get in front of other people and they will try to make it a big deal sometimes. So I can understand your position, Jeffrey, why you would feel like that. Didn't Anas say? Yeah. And it's like, again, hell is what's outside my window. Hell would be cold. That is what they fear more than anything. That's why when I look at the weather vortex, the cold, I don't know if they necessarily want to create cold, to be honest. Now, I know they do like driving up the heating prices and stuff, but they fear cold. This reality fears the cold. Now, I don't know if I've said this before. Most of this earth is pretty easy to move around, especially spiritually. It's pretty easy, except those areas. There's something there that it's not that free to move around to really find out. Space is freer than that area. You can go to space easier than you can go to that area. But a lot of the old writings talk about freezing them fuckers, especially freezing the wizards that it came back and invented the guns, that had the gun technology. So yeah, hell is freezing. Hell ain't hot. Hot is comfortable. We're hot. The sun is hot. So how could the sun be hell? But it's all about scaring you. I don't know, because I was reading the thing today, and then the grandfather clause, the grandfather paradox kills all that. It kills the butterfly effect. It kills all that. That don't matter. That you can go back in time and you can kill all the people you want, and what was going to happen still happened. That's why they're saying what's happening has already happened. So this illusion will still do the same thing. You would go back and fight all these damn people, because believe me, I've done it. I've gone back and fought the very ones, these names, and it still basically turns out the same. And I can't say that what I did was unsuccessful, because it was successful, but a lot of the way things, it didn't change much. It changed a few pockets, but overall the shit came. Because what you find out is, if you stay in that area, you help, yes, you will change that area, but the way everything else around you, it went back to the same. And if you didn't tighten that area up enough, you would even get overthrown, or all that would be taken away from you, because things, if you didn't stay on top of it and you didn't leave instructions how to stay on top of it, if you lived long enough to be an old man, when you no longer had your powers, you would see this same old shit, despite all your efforts. Not really. It's limiting. That's what the butterfly is limiting, Ryan. It's really limiting. It's a fear kind of program in a way, to make you not want to go back. That's what it's saying, that paradoxes, you would create paradoxes. And we've seen a ton of things that explain these paradoxes. That you go by that Cheryl Ladd movie, and I talked about this before, where they had to smoke cigarettes to be in that reality. Yep. I am speaking storytelling wise. Oh, yeah. The short story is beautiful about killing the dinosaur. Yeah. That's one of the most, I think at one time, that short story about with the dinosaur was one of the most read short stories of that era. And the other story, and I was telling my son this, maybe I shared it. If I shared this, let me know. I won't go on. But the other story that went with that short story is the guy lands on a planet and has the laser, and he's killing all these wolf dogs with the lasers, and the wolf dogs won't stop attacking him. Like, he's just killing these things left and right to going around this way, and the things won't leave him alone. And then one day he just gets a bow and arrow or a spear, and he spears one of them, and he finds out that giving these things pain, they remember. So he made bows and arrows, and he starts using the bows and arrows and shooting these damn things. And they left him alone because the laser was killing them so instantly that there was no memory of pain. They were just instantly dying because pain can be shared. You know, that you put the arrow in him and that animal goes back and the rest of them is like, what's wrong with you? Like, damn, you did some shit. This shit hurts. And then when he finally gets saved, his people come and like, why are you using the bow and arrow? And he had the laser gun just set up. He would use it as a little hammer. He was like, because they remember pain. The movie Donnie Darko fits more with your explanation of time travel with two parallel universes. I would say this too is it seems like on the quantum level that this thing doesn't create the parallel universes, but when we get into the illusionary me or my, what was done to us did create parallel universes, because the machine that operates everything now, the me or the my, has to know all the answers, and it made the parallel universes. I don't think before it took over that we lived like that, where there was two things. I think things just kind of moved as far as our quantum, because again, when I talk about breaking through, this is what we're breaking through of. We're going past the clouding of the me or the my. And the Gnostic works talk a lot about that. Is the clouding. When you have something that puts cloud or sleep or fog in everyone's face. So, but yeah, I have to watch Donnie Darko. Really slow. My sons love it. Okay, Jeffrey, you're going to tone it down, please. And you don't have to dominate. You don't have to dominate the chat, please. Yeah, it's nothing to fear. It's nothing to fear. That's for sure. It isn't. You just have to live your best life, and you have to love. It's like, even if you, however, your relationship didn't last or whatever, you have to look that in your heart you was able to love. Because again, don't love expecting anything in return. That is not true love. True love, you love without expecting anything in return. You love a child because he's your child. You don't necessarily expect that child to love you back. You expect the child to love you back that you put into him. You don't love him because you love him because it's your child. And there are people that I only love if they love me back. If you love me back, I love you. There are some people that they only want to be in relationships where they're with a person that loves them more than they love them. There are people that only look for that. They only want people to love them more than they love that person back. There are people that operate on that. And those people are like, I don't want to be hurt, so I need to be loved more. And I'll give this much of love. You don't expect anything in return. You just love. It's like when you first fell in love with whoever. You loved without anything in return. You loved because how you felt when you was with that person. You look at new relationships, you just kind of want to talk to each other all the time, hear each other, look at each other. And you're not really looking at a return. And of course, men be like, well, how soon can I hit it? And then we'll see if it's love. But no, I'm just joking. But I'm just, that's how people are. And time can fade all that. Like Richard Pryor said, I get just tired of seeing somebody every day. Or what do you say? I get tired of doing it to somebody every day. He say, well, this is my old lady. Your head down like, this is my old lady. But it's just, you should have joy in your heart that you're capable of loving. People are just really needy. People think they're entitled to something, but we aren't entitled to anything. No, I agree. I agree. Yeah, calm down, Jeffrey, please. We are all turned in to get the love and wisdom. Yeah, just take your time. We're all tuned in, to get love and wisdom. Oh, okay, yeah, but that's how you really got to look at it. If you're into it with anything other than that, you're not being true to the person. You're not being true to yourself. love is supreme, and love is given without anything expecting anything in return. That's really what being the stronger entity is you create without expecting anything. I mean, if you really look at Brahma's breath, it's creating and it doesn't expect a return on any of the creation. And we have to be the same way. Like strong discernment was saying, you close your eyes and you start getting into something. And the longer your eyes are closed, the more you're going to get something back. Again, you create that something. Because when you close your eyes, you start creating. It has to come from somewhere. And you start seeing what you are naturally creating, your natural self, your natural vibrations. But it takes a lot of you to get to these points, to break into that, to bring that out of yourself. And it's very, very easily you see that you can be just as much the creator. And you start having these experiences. Like I was telling a friend earlier, the shadow work and how I got even introduced to it. It's the thing about shadow work is it wants to stay in the shadows. It can be around, but you might miss it. It's a very fleeting kind of thing. You have to really catch it. And it's very fleeting, even with your eyes closed. This thing is very fleeting. And if you'll keep missing it, and it'll be there, but you'll keep missing it. But if you are able to catch it, and not even catch it, recognize, it'll open up a whole nother way of dealing with your higher selves. And so these are just possibilities. Yeah. Love is the highest frequency. And that's one thing that the witch says is right. Love or above. You really want to keep right here of just love. You want to just keep it there. No matter how you deal with things, you just keep it there. No matter what instance comes in your life, you still look at everything from that perspective. Now, this is an ugly world. And I ain't saying that you just totally are away from the ugliness that is this reality. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying how you generally are. Because even that shouldn't take the love away from you. What did Tyson say earlier? He said that the one guy, young man, said that he had to cut people off that wronged him. And then Tyson said, well, the devil changed you. And I'm like, no, the young man was absolutely right. You don't have to forgive. I mean, you can still look at those people that wronged you with love. But it doesn't really mean it changed you. It meant that you kind of woke up. You kind of put people out of your life that needed to be out of your life. So there was no good and evil in that decision. It's what's best. It's what's best for you. So I disagreed when he said that. I kind of laughed. Because again, if you accept one, you accept the other. Happy, sad. Jesus, the devil. Twins. See, no, the hero twins. The hero twins. I work with my brother. I work with my higher self. I don't work against it. I'm not Cain enabled. Hey, PJ, thank you for joining me. That's the problem with the world. It's at such a low vibration. And that's true. And it's not even, and see, that's where it goes back again. What Tyson kind of hit on is things can put you in a lower vibration. That would have made more sense than telling him that the devil won and the devil changed you. Yes, dealing with people and having to put them out of your life will give you a lower vibration. Absolutely. But on the other hand, if you get that low vibration away from you, because if you have to deal with that person and that person keeps a low vibration around you, you've gotten rid of an attachment. Because part of them being around you could be just to hold your vibration down. And there are people around us that's what they do. And you forge in relationships with these people. I have very few friends. Now I help and interact with a lot of people, but I have very few friends. And I look back and I don't miss anything. I don't miss knowing all these different personalities. I think that's a benefit of living in a bigger city. When I lived in Michigan, I knew everybody and still didn't have a lot of friends. Knew a lot of people, but didn't have a lot of friends, if you understand. There were a few people that really were cool with me. So these are the kind of lessons, I guess, lessons that life will teach you, especially when you try to be into your superior self. And so that's how I can look at things. I can look at things, and that's kind of the gospel of Jesus, or no, excuse me, the laughing Jesus touches it, lucid living, which is a good point. You become the observer because when you're the observer, that's see, you can look at it without emotion when you're just the observer. You can just be full of love in yourself, but you just look at things as the observer. You don't have to feel one way or another. You can just look at it where you don't have to be emotionally connected to it. Now, if it's good for you, then you absorb it. But it's not. You're able to just pass it like opening a page in a book. Okay, I observed it. Didn't do anything to me. I don't have to connect to that. I don't have to let that lower my vibration. And that is personal choice. Like it or not. A lot of times we let people lower our vibration. Somebody sent me some crap earlier. And they showed me this ad, this chick or something. And this chick was like, she wanted somebody submissive. Somebody she could tie up and make up. What is the word? The gimp. She wanted you to be a gimp. And it's like, why would you want to be tied up? Why do you want to have a mistress that you yes and knowing and telling you what to wear? There are people that like that. There are powerful people that like being put in that submissive way. But who sent it to me just made me laugh. I just read this shit. It was just so funny to me. It's like, who would really want to be the gimp? Remember Pulp Fiction? He says, "Get out the gimp." Remember they bring the gimp out the cage. It was another show recently. They talked about somebody being a gimp, and that was my first thought. Was like the gimp. The gimp is the dude they brought out the box on Pulp Fiction. Remember he says, "Bring out the gimp." Yeah, Rocky, the gimp is in Pulp Fiction. It was something recently that used the word gimp, but the person that had the mask on in Pulp Fiction was the gimp. Remember, he said, "Bring out the gimp." Remember before they started raping Vin Rings, before he was getting raped, and he's getting raped. That's a rape scene with Vin Rings. He ties him up, puts something in his mouth, and he starts raping him. That's the original one. The original show shows that. And then Vin Rings, that's why he says, "We're going to go get medieval on you." Because this guy just raped him. What I'm saying is it doesn't matter what they do, Jeffrey. It doesn't matter what they do. I observe and they don't change me one way or the other. I observe what they do. It's just like taking the other channel down. That's all I observed. For a minute, yeah, I got mad, but then I started looking at my stuff and didn't really lose much. And so I was just still the observer. It didn't change me. It didn't make me not want to teach, not want to share, not want to practice with people, point things out with people. It didn't change me. But that's what their intention is. To say, well, we hurt that guy and lick your wounds. No. Okay, move on. Move on. Not the first that's been done to, not going to be the last. There's a lot of other platforms. I've got the talk show going. So there's a lot of, so I'm technically doing 2 shows at one time. Matter of fact, I could turn this on. Oh shit. And I could go live and be on Match Me. I could be on 3 different platforms. I don't know if I want to do Match Me. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. And I don't really feel like working that hard. but I'm saying there are a lot of different platforms the word can get out. So and we all have to grow. I just looked at it as just a growing experience. This is your thing. So if that's what you felt, and in a way, it did help me in a way as well. Because the moment it happened, I said, this is going to be positive. Because there's something that I'm saying that has to be some bit of truth to not have an overly big channel and then still fearing some of my information. Because that's the good thing about it. They fear what I'm saying. Somewhere what I'm saying is reaching the right people. And again, it came right after the new government came in. Well, we've seen that before in the past. We've seen that before in the past, and people still adapted. There are countries that saw war. So people have there was the thing called the Depression here. Most people listening to me lived in 08 when gas was damn near $5 a gallon. They've been homeless. You know how long there's been homeless people? The first homeless people I saw was in the 80s. Now, remember the word hobo. Do you know where the word hobo comes from? What do you think the Depression? Do you know during the Depression there were hobo camps? Bonnie and Clyde shows you that. You watch the original Bonnie and Clyde, and they go to her mother. When Bonnie goes to see her mother, they go through hobo camps. So there were homeless camps going back far as the Depression in the 30s and 40s. Homeless people ain't a new thing. It's been around for a long time. There were a lot of homeless people during the Depression, and hobos got together and made villages and started helping each other and going back to the natural resources. Especially in the 40s, there were still a lot of woods out there. The biggest thing that they feared was the hippie era. Do you know how many people started communes during the hippie era and moved out and started growing their own food and vegetables, teaching their children? That's the biggest, what is the word I'm looking for? That was the most success of the hippie era. That's why they had the Manson thing, the Manson, to say he was in a commune. Do you see? That's what they feared. They feared those communes and people checking out. It was people saying, I'm not going to be in the civil rights. I'm not messing with the anti-war. I'm going to be a part of all of it. And my friends and I, we're going to grow our own food. We're going to live in our own community, produce things that we'll go in the city to sell. They feared that more than anything. You know what right now they fear? People buying a lot of land and building little houses in the push to show you don't need that much shit to survive. You know how many little houses would go on 20 acres? You probably put 40 houses on 20 acres. They're small houses and decent lots. I mean, they want you to have shit. They want you to have junk. They allow China to bring junk over daily. When you go in a dollar store, tell me the toys ain't nothing but junk. You see thousands of dollars worth of junk that people buy daily. Go in a dollar store, Dollar Tree, whatever your dollar store is called, and look at the junk that is sold every day, that if there's parties or you know children, you buy the junk. Balloons, birthday stuff, all junk, disposable stuff, one-time use. Paddle balls, a game that is made to fail. Paddle ball. that used to come from Japan. Now all the junk come from China. And they allow tons and tons of junk to come in. You know, I guess I'll say the name. I was shopping at Aged Navy. You understand? Maybe I won't say, okay, and they're owned by 8 Gap. You understand the business I'm talking about. I'm looking here at these clothes, $40, $30, $40 of this place that used to sell $15, $20 clothes. And I'm looking at the quality of these clothes and I'm thinking, I can go to Marshall's. I bought my son a pair of jeans. He needed some work jeans. So we were there near there. We bought a pair. And I was surprised. They were originally listed at $40 from Aged Navy. $40. And I'm looking at the quality of these clothes and I'm like, okay, so this place is becoming the Gap because that stuff was more expensive. When you could go to Marshall's and buy a pair of Levi's for the same price or cheaper. So it just goes to show you minimalism. There you go. Yeah, so Jeffrey, we know you're upset, but tone it down. You don't have to keep telling us how upset you are. Tone it down, please. Tone it down. All right. Hey, Ishmael, thank you for joining me. So tone it down, Jeffrey. You don't have to. I really don't prefer people to post back to back. You got one where you post 3 times in a row. Take it easy, please. Oh, the other night I had a dream that I was in the hospital covered with blood. I had a tube attached to my third eye and it was sinking my consciousness into a phone. Because someone earlier called me about some dreams and I had to, what's the key words? Wow. Let's see if I can go off that. Yeah. Let's see if I can go off that and start putting stuff together. Says hospitals can either be a place of peace, place of safety, healing, if you've had a positive experience, or vulnerability if the experience was negative. Generally, though, hospitals are symbols of healing, representing an aspect of yourself that longs to be pampered and cared for, relieved of the burdens, responsibilities waiting in the world. If you find yourself threatening in your dream, then this may suggest you are apprehensive about putting control of yourself out of your own hands and into those of others in walking life. If you are there in your dream, this suggests a period of transition after something has possibly not gone well, or a time of rest when you can learn from the experience and find new ways to get back on track. If you are visiting, either way, if you have a dream that focuses on some of the hospitals, it suggests you are in need of some tender, loving care, both physically and emotionally. But you put more in there that I want to work with. Okay, and you say attached to a tube attached to your third eye. You know what? I would probably relate that to little Uzi Vert's having that diamond in his eye. Because I'm sure, I mean, if you haven't read about that, then I say no. But if you've heard about that, I would say possibly it could be from seeing that and was sinking my consciousness into the phone. That's the other word. Let's see. We can get another hint about the phone. Phone might give us another hint. Let They might not have it. Well, let's see. I don't think they have it. Wow. Yeah, they don't have phones in here. It might be under telephone. Yeah. Let's see if they got it under telephone. I'm chewing over here. All right, here we go. In dreams, telephones are symbols of communication, the desire to make contact. If you're speaking on it, trying to recall, you were speaking to, nope. If you're repeating, you're contacted. The telephone gets larger than usual. This may represent yourself, may also be an indication that you will see new, soon need to convey important messages. Urgency. Some kind of moral dilemma. But also there's a luckiness drawn to, like you say, information going into the phone. I hope that's a little, I'm kind of vague, so don't know how helpful that could be. So yeah, so it's some kind of message that's definitely coming for you, that it seems like. I also remember my dream being at a corporate building and people were there gambling. I remember seeing the date, July 23rd. Gambling. It's funny how you have to find the right words. Okay, it kicked me back into over here. Here. Oh, okay. I see how they did this. I see. So a gambler is looked at as an archetype. The gambler is a risk taker who plays the odds and dreams of winning. Gambling casinos can suggest following hunches, believing in your intuition, even in the face of universal doubt. Whether you're a gambler, review your ability to follow your intuition. Ask yourself how many decisions are based on gut instinct. What are you messing with over there? Interesting. I would see, look at a numerologist book or app. Okay, just a little bit. I know it's kind of vague. Try to kind of going quick over it a little bit too. So, but yeah, somebody had asked me, so I got it out, and just kind of good to practice with it too. I've always had a natural instinct. I'd really have to take time and write the words out and then get the matches in the words and stuff. I understand dreams are everything your mind observed consciously and unconsciously in the last 72 hours. Maybe. But a lot of new stuff be coming in too sometimes. So I'm not saying you right or wrong, but that's possible. That's a good point. It's good information to share with people, because people can, if you look at it like that, like write down, like if you did have that dream and you go on that philosophy of the past 72 hours repeat, you could write little possibilities and from the dream that you remember, and then go back, look at the date, look at what happened those prior dates and see if any of it adds up. That's the way you could do it too. So that's good information. Thank you for giving that information, Rocky. I appreciate it. Oh, okay. Okay, nice. That's nice share. Trying to I don't know, Jeffrey, if that's necessarily true, because how do you know How do you know that Rocky is not protected from demons? How do you know that he's so easily taken over by demons, even at rest? You don't know. You're making a judgment. I didn't see that as anything demonic out of that, or even controlled. I think the Uzi Vert had something to do with having the third eye. I think a lot of us had to have that impression. You're seeing that as definitely. I mean, everybody that has eyes sees that he is trying to gain something through his third eye with something that expensive. He claims more than likely it's not that expensive. They always lie about that kind of thing. But it's definitely looking at telling people that, blow this out. You'll be able to go to infinity with it. It can be that strong. So. But yes, I agree on spiritual warfare. Yeah, of course. You don't think they try to put things in the ethers? Like I was saying with the witch. This witch tried to take me out of my boundaries where she couldn't come and get me out and then have me submit and then marry me and then give me all the riches I wanted. Didn't want that. Didn't want any of that. So you could look at that as a spiritual warfare. I had a few words on one of her, because I'm still friends with her on Facebook, which trips me out. And I gave a few, comment. And so I think she saw my energy and she's like, I can probably give him this and then he'll stay off me. Well, I looked at it like the people that invest in you, that has nothing to do with me. And you do your thing. And if people invest in you, then that's up to them. Same way with a seer. I looked at a seer the same way. She didn't do anything to me as well as a seer. A seer didn't do anything to me either. And it was little me getting caught up into me caring for people. When in fact, I wasn't harmed by either action, a seer or the witch. Now, after I didn't marry her, of course, she tried to send some people after me that I had to blast. But again, she personally didn't really do anything for me to even start it. I get back into that emotionalism. It's not upon me to make anyone see clear. You have to see for yourself. It's not for me to wake up people up. It's for the people to wake themselves up. There we go. So, with that said, I will give the divination. I believe we are at, oh, there it is. 13 platoons, 0 cartoons, 8 tunes. We are 4 Uno, and we are day 14. I might have to go into the cards. I don't think I got day 14 out. I didn't. And day 14 would be Ik, the saucer, the jaguar, the feline energy, the night seer. Night seer, attainment of magical power, highest level of individual consciousness and development. And Ix would be the energy for Friday comes out of the north. Oops. Comes out of the north. Yeah. Now in the Toltec, well, I got the right number. The Toltec, it's Azlat or Jaguar. In this image of the card, we see a jaguar sitting on a throne as an expression of its high position in the Toltec mystical vision. On the top, we see the number 14, the traditional Natal number systems, and the head of the jaguar again. On the throne, we see a ceremonial arrow representing the offspring of the jaguar. The meaning of Austral comes from the name of the jaguars perceived within the Toltec perspective. It encompasses strength, hunting, power, balance, harmony, stalking, patience, capacity for keen observation, beauty, flexibility, and magic. If you get the Jaguar card, you are meant to adopt the features of this powerful animal to deal with your world. You will be like a hunter who wishes his or her territory with all senses alert in the quest for prey. Just like the jaguar, you won't take more than you need. Your role as a hunter will contribute to the larger scheme of balance the elements of your world, which are all interrelated. To be able to do this, you would need something much more powerful than physical force. You would need the magical power of the jaguar. The real power of the jaguar, its magic, does not come from its physical strength, but from living in harmony in its own world. Role in nature and helping to sustain the equilibrium among all living beings of its environment. The jaguar never uses its power to abuse or to take anything but what is needed. The magic power of the jaguar comes from Kanam, which is the power that arises from harmonizing opposites. In order to survive as a lonely hunter, Ostal has to be in harmony with everything, including its prey. That is the strength you are being called to develop. The strength that comes from being in equilibrium with everything around you. It may take you an entire lifetime to develop such power to its maximum. Let me read that again. It may take you a lifetime to develop such power to the maximum, if that is your destiny. I'm 60 years old, and the way I've grown spiritually in the last, I'd say even 5 years, is amazing. It was tiny steps. Someone earlier mentioned about the Gnostic information. That's kind of what woke me up a lot, is Gnostic. Hey, Crazy Sarge. And the other thing I wanted to hit people to would be, again, I always do business in the Monex. It's ADAP or Monex. Monex is a separate one. They're calling for silver to be $50. They're saying in the next couple months, silver will be $50 an ounce. Right now, we're at 27. It closed at 27, down 23%. Gold was up $16 or up $6 to $1,800 per ounce. Silver ounce is $27. If you buy it from this site, they're going to charge you about $1.30 or something like that. So silver is there. Again, Bitcoin is back up to 44,000. Anyone that has Cash App can get into Bitcoin. So it's up $224. Remember, what, a week ago it was down to 31. It's risen up to 44,000. Ethereum is up to 1,700. Binance is up to $125. Litecoin is up to $181. So things seem to be moving positively. What did Ford close on the stock market at? Now, back during the riots, my brother said, watch Ford. Ford was down to $5 a share. Ford is now up to $11 a share. I've made a nice little chunk of change off of Ford. So it opened at $12, so it lost slightly today. It lost 16 cents. Still not bad. Toyota closed at 164. Renault, which is Chrysler, closed at $40 a share. Nissan, I don't know, it doesn't. What did Ford? I wanted to see what Ford closed at today. Or not Ford, GM. Does it give GM? Honda is $29 a share. I don't know what that is. I wanted to see what GM closed. What did GM close at on the stock exchange? Yeah, when I bought into General Motors, it was $43 a share. It was down $1.19, but still, it's at $54. Ford is that new electric car Ford is going to be a hit, and that's going to drive this up. So again, if you would have got into it at $5 a share, you were able to move in a positive way. What's the website to buy gold? There's several. This one is called, and look at your state because this state won't send me gold directly or silver, which sucks. But this is called, it's called Monex Precious Metals. Monex. And you can trade precious metals on there. Look at your state laws though. There's another one called, oh man, how do you spell it? AP. I used to have that one. I don't have that one on my phone anymore. But Monex is one of them. And you can just Google it. But Monex is one of them. So, I think the economy is going to crash soon. Could be. I got access to my crypto and found out I was letting around 1,700 in my wallet if I sell it. Yeah, there you go. I should have listened to you entire. I don't know. You're welcome. Nepero Queen. Thank you. You're welcome. But yeah, that's it. It's Monex, but it's another one. I was just reading it, and I didn't keep it as a reference. But there's another one too. It's AP. How do you spell that? Aponic. No, I can't. I'm drawing a blank. But there's several. And but be wise about it, and you got to just study it every day. Well, you saw me get mad at my son the other day, but just because I'm mad at him for those minutes doesn't mean I'm going to stay mad. You know, I've seen a behavior, and I don't think he thought about it, but I'm like, you don't have to be rude. You know my habits, and so dig my habits. But yeah, I mean, again, it's like, and just to tell you a little story, like my daughter, I had to catch my daughter in some stuff. She's 9 years old. Let me see how much I want to tell of this. How do I want to say it? Okay. So my mother had her birthday yesterday. It was a kind of, we're on the zeros. And so she had a big birthday on the zeros. She tells me don't tell how old she is, but she had a big birthday on the zero. And so my son that lives with me and my 25-year-old son, we had a time with her. You know, my daughter didn't want to go. So I said, okay, at least sign your Nana's card. So she signed the card. I showed her that I got gifts because she asked me what was in the bag first. And I said, these are her gifts. So I said, we're going to Applebee's. We're going to have dinner, and it's for your grandmother's birthday. I said, do you want to go? So I don't know if her mother texts my mother or not, but her mother found out we went to have dinner, birthday dinner. And she texts me and says, well, you didn't take Natalie. Natalie says she didn't know it was the birthday dinner. I said, wait a minute. I said, ask her if she signed the card. Yes. She said, Natalie, you signed the card? Yes. Did you see the gift? Yes. Did you know I was going to dinner with your grandmother? Yes. And I when she came over tonight, I had to tell her, don't lie. Don't lie. We understand why you didn't want to go, and we're not going to force you to go. And my mother was like, well, just remind her that I support her on her things. But like, be honest. Don't be dishonest because your mother saw a flaw in you. Be honest. Well, you can't let it take you over. That's the thing. That rage can take you over. We all know this. We all know what's going on around the world. We're reminded of it every day. That's what the mask is about, to remind you of the fucked up situation that we're in. Before, we had no reminder. The mask is now a reminder that this situation ain't the greatest. But despite that, don't let it kill your joy. Don't let it change you. Just adapt and move through it. What was the movie? Enemies can be at the gate. Enemies can be at the gate, and it's still not as strong as you. If you know yourself, and you know that fear in their death is all they have. That's the desperation of this system that you can see. mean, they have people that have passed something and bringing them in to get things injected into them on something that is not killing very many people. People are recovering from it. But yet they have people thinking, but look at what they're doing. They're trying to tell you that rich people can jump you. Then they're trying to tell you that old people can jump in front of you. They're trying to create a false need. We see marketing. We know what marketing is. They want to say that there's shortfalls to make you want it. But we're too smart for that. We see Christmas all over again because that's all this thing knows how to do. First, the brothers and sisters were saying, hell no, we won't go. So this thing was stunned. I mean, when you see this thing offering weed, well, you can get that dime bag for us if you come on in. The dime bag's on us. I was standing in line, and they were like, they handed me a little dime bag. I said, I'm not doing it for less than £1. Damn if they didn't come back and give me £1. I was like, wow, I should have asked for a car. So you have to be your strongest self. That's what I'm saying. We're not going to be fooled. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. They're letting these sports teams going back because people are demanding it. Right now, they've got a thing going about schools because people are demanding it. People are demanding to start working again, not just letting techs make money. Because like it or not, there's always going to be sweatshops. There's always going to be people, manual labor is not going away. And really, you can look at manual labor. You want to know what slavery is? In some ways, manual labor is slavery. It's a lot of things that you do without being trained to do anything. You can just go in and they can show you in one day how to do it. That is a slave. And that's what these temp agencies hire. And I'm not putting anyone down, but I'm saying if you want to look at modern slavery, temp agencies are modern slavery. Any place that you can come in and learn the job in hours is a type of slavery. And again, I'm not putting anyone down for what you do. I'm not. Please don't take that to heart. But what I'm saying is if you want to look at a type of slavery, temp companies still create slavery. They still offer slavery to everyone. Again, I don't want anyone to take this personal. It's not an attack on an individual for what you do. You have to do what you have to do to survive. Don't get me wrong. But I'm saying what the hell was that? Oh, that was my shadow. Okay, I was like, whoa. Kind of caught it like, whoa, what's that moving? I always joked that is the problem. What's up? Hey, JR Smooth. I worked for about 4 different temp agencies, and I can confirm they are modern day slavery, hard labor jobs for little pay. Absolutely. And this is the sad thing about capitalism. And this is capitalism right here in a nutshell. This is capitalism. The harder you work, the less you get paid. That's capitalism. The more you make, the less you do. I'm going to say that again. The more you make, the less you do. And I don't care what kind of boss you are. A lot of people say, well, I had to work my way to the top. The more you make, the less you do. Now let's take the temp agency. You go sit at that, you learn that job. You got a supervisor. The supervisor has a little less work than you do. The supervisor has a supervisor. They do a little less work than that supervisor does. You see, if you go up the chain, they each do a little less. Now, yes, there's accountants. There's I'm trying to think trying to think of the position in the controller. There's controllers. And I mean a controller that works in a factory. He kind of pulls a lot of the strings of everything. Then you have the individual managers. I mean, Trump was kind of pointing this out as well. If you're working a sledgehammer, cracking rocks, or if you working cutting up, breaking up asphalt, you're working pretty hard. But that's where they keep slavery. Low pay wages is slavery. Now they even arguing about $15 an hour. Now I'm gonna say this about Applebee's. Applebee's makes you pay, and a lot of restaurants do this. They make you pay now the extra dollar up to $3 to $5 for the people's health insurance. That's a type of individual tax. But let me say this again. I have dyslexia, so I read shit and I don't really quite understand. They was teasing me because I couldn't even say the word, and I end up getting the taco hamburger. You know, instead of having a bun, I got that Quizno sauce on it, and it gave me a terrible case of mud butt. I'll say that's what it did. My mother didn't eat her dinner, neither did my son. They had a panani, supposed to be the honey chicken with a lot of cheese. Yeah, it was no cheese, neither one of them. Luckily, it didn't cost us a lot. I had some gift cards, and so it didn't cost me. I think for 4 people, it ended up costing me about $15 with a tip. And I didn't give her a good tip because the food wasn't good, and the service wasn't good. So, but yeah, my butt was serious. My mother was like, "Did you have food poisoning?" Not quite. There's a reason that ones at the top don't make eye contact with the ones that are in the trenches. There you go. That's absolutely right. Now, this is what they want to tell you. Well, the engineer has to look at the blueprints when they had blueprints. Now everything's mostly CAD, but they have to look at the blueprints. They write the blueprints. They do the measurements. They had to go to school to do that. Yeah, you can take drafting classes to learn how to do blueprints. You can take drafting classes to make designs, to design systems. So you ain't really got to have a degree to do that. They lied and tell you need a degree. It's like I'll back up a little bit. Every job there is you have to have training. A president becomes a president of a new company. He still has to be trained in what that company does. He has some organizing skills, but yet, let me tell you a thing about my father. My father was the personnel director for the city of Battle Creek. And my father drank at lunch every day. Now, do you think people that worked in the city could drink every day at lunch? My father had a bottle of liquor in his office. But he would drink every day at lunch. Or he'd lock his door and have a drink in the office. Always had mints. It's like I used his truck one time, and my boys were little enough to sit in the jump seats. I didn't have to put the car. Sometimes I could put the car. They were little enough. You could put the car seat in the jump seat and buckle them in. And then they were big enough where I could just put them in the jump seats. But they always had gum, and I didn't think anything about it. And then one day they were minty fresh, and I'm looking at it. My dad, because he drank so much, had gums and mints that after drinking, he could use these gums and mints. Again, I told the story. I was with my dad where I know he wasn't drunk, but he was probably wouldn't have passed. And he got caught speeding, and the guy came up and started talking to him. Matter of fact, the guy was like, "I've been needing to talk to you." And he ended up hiring this guy from another department. The guy saw it was my dad. He's like, "Oh, Harold, I've been looking for you. I need to talk to you." My dad ended up hiring this guy. I know the full story. But he's speeding because he was drinking. Because we left together. We was both drinking. But I'm just saying, this goes on. Now, a person working a ditch couldn't drink at lunch, unless you lived in Germany. I had this one boss who would snort coke on the job, but would get mad if we were 1 minute late. The boss title really gets to their head. Oh, yeah. It's people that definitely. I've told the story. There was this Mexican cat that he actually was recruiting other Mexican people to work in this factory when I was working at Johnson Control. And he got my wife fired. And my wife had worked there a week or two, or my ex-wife, excuse me. My ex-wife had worked there a week or two. She really didn't know. Now, what the problem is when people pick you up, there's a lot where all the managers park. That's where I parked. I parked in that lot. So the regular people weren't supposed to use that lot. Well, she wasn't actually using the lot. She was getting picked up. He harassed her so much and wouldn't quit harassing her. She picked up, because at the time we were making doors. She picked up the door and threw it at him. She got so frustrated because he's going to write her up for something that really she didn't know. There was no warrant or anything. And I told the story before about the guy wasn't my boss. I was equal to this dude, but one of my friends wasn't. It was like we was all part of the quality team. I was the quality manager, and it was a time when all the Chrysler, Ford, General Motors had went on strike. So we kept our quality team. We had to lay off almost everybody, but yet we still had to produce a smaller amount of parts. And so us quality people, we had to do, I had to put some of my quality people on the lines because they didn't want to retrain a whole crew of quality people. So we tried to hold on to all my people. I had on first shift, I had about 15 people, maybe even 20, because there were some people that did testing for me. So I had about 20 people that I had that had to go into these other positions. And we were kind of just messing around. And this guy said something to my other guys. And one of my guys said, ease up on that whip. Just joking. We all kind of laughed. And this guy, he fired one of my guys. I told what happened, and I couldn't save my guy. I felt so bad. But he could do nothing to me, but he was able to get rid of one of my guys. And it's like he was on the ego trip. And he knew he could never say anything to me. I mean, what you going to say? Who are you going to tell on me? I'm equal to you. But look at the country now. Again, my first job in 1980, I made $3 and something an hour. That was minimum wage. I watched minimum wage be $5, go up to 10. Now they want to make it 15. I was watching Family Gaming Online, NASCAR PS5. It was, yes, Barbara? NASCAR Heat. Oh, I love racing games because they're driving simulators. And if you get all of it, the steering wheel, and you get the clutch, and you get the foot pedal, oh yeah, that's some fun stuff. That's the only kind of things I like is the flying simulators and the driving simulators. I really like the driving simulators. That would be the only reason I would buy that kind of stuff. I remember you telling me that before. Well, Jeffrey, this was the thing. Remember what I was reading. When you look at energy, sometimes you care for someone else so much that you kind of don't take care of yourself. And it sounds like you got lost in caring for someone else so much. Remember, I read that almost weekly when we come on to that you have to take care of yourself. And it sounds like you had to start all over again. And I'm not saying there's any shame in it. You got to hustle. I mean, I knew a guy, I talked about him the other day. He was a Vietnam vet that wouldn't talk about Vietnam. This dude worked security. This dude, he worked at 2 restaurants. This guy hustled. I remember one year, I think when I first met him, trying to think, this cat would say he was making 50 grand back then. Back in, this must have been 85, 86. Because he worked, and he like the beautiful thing he liked about the security job is he could sleep. He worked second shift. It was a lot quieter. Wasn't anybody there but the cleaning crew, and then the cleaning crew would leave at a certain time. On the weekends, nobody was there with us. I told the story about bringing a girl in because nobody was there. It was just me in the building. I controlled 4 buildings, but that cat would come there and sleep. We could sleep. All you had to do was get up once an hour and walk around. Check everything, go back down. You had 50. It would take you, even doing the 4 buildings, it would take you 15 minutes. And you would have the rest 45 minutes to take naps. If you was a little slow, they didn't care as long as you did it in a pattern where they could say, yeah, busy, 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 busy. So hustle. I ain't got nothing wrong with hustle. Minimum wage goes up, so will the prices of everything. Yeah. I was happy to start over. I was trying to start over for my mom. Yeah, it's a start. No, that's what I was saying. I wasn't personally attacking anybody, but I'm just saying as a system, that is part of the system. That's all. Yeah. I mean, whatever hustle you got, you hustle and you do your thing. That's what I'm saying. But realize that system. I mean, even now they're bucking. And it's like, I was told by a lawyer I could go buy a house. That's what one of my lawyers told me. He's going to give me the money. So we look at this house, and the house at the time had 7,000 square foot. The house was like 700 grand. Yeah, right? Million. Yeah, 700. Yeah, 700. Not a million, but 700 grand. Yeah, 700,000. You know those houses now, and this was only a year ago. You can't get that kind of house now for more than 1.4, 1.2. That's why I was crushed. It didn't work out, because now that same house you can't even buy for that price. Those houses are almost double. So homes are getting, since especially people are more at home, homes are getting more expensive. But cars, I mean, you get a new Escalade, you're talking about 100,000+. Some of them red eyes, some of them type of rides, it's 100,000, 80, 90,000. Just think of them notes. Them house notes. Hey, All Business Boxing. What's up? Thank you for joining me. I just hate this world because I never asked to be here. Fake friends, the fake family. Well, the point is you have to find your own self. That's the point. The point is find your own self. Work on you. Work on your spirituality. Well, guys, I'm going to start when I come back on Thursdays, making it a shorter show and then build up to the longer shows as we go through the week. So I'm going to end it here. I thank you all for joining me. I do got a busy day tomorrow, too. I can't afford to stay up till 4 or 5. Hey, Jason. So I do have to go. I'm sorry you guys just joining and miss me. I'm not going to be able to go any longer. I do have a busy day, and I do need to get some rest. My son worked nights last night. Our power got knocked out, so didn't get a whole bunch of sleep last night. I had to pick my son up from work at 6 after he called me. You know, our heat got cut off. And I mean, power went off. Somebody ran into a telephone line or a power line. It affected everything. And he was working in the store, and the store generators didn't cut him on. So he has people in there, customers in there, and it's just dark. They walk to the end of the street. The whole city's dark. No lights anywhere. It knocked out the power for about 20 minutes. My cable didn't come back on until 3 or 4. The internet came back on, but not the cable. So didn't get a lot of rest. So I need to make up that. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for understanding, and thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support. Everyone that subscribed to me, that ever gave me a like, I thank you so much. And it's just we're gonna just keep moving and putting this information out. One way or another, there's always a place to find the information. There's always a place where you can find me. TalkShoe is great, and I should start doing where just send me your addresses and we can just talk on here. We don't even need this anymore, to be honest. Now I'm looking at 2 screens of mine. TalkShoe has stepped up. And when I first got on it, we could get attacks. People would come in and blow noises. Like if you ever watch any of the videos on YouTube of just sounds, rain, people attack those streams. They're live streams, and people attack them with noises and periods. I know Zach gets those kind of attacks too, where they make noises when you're doing your videos and stuff. So TalkShoe was once like that. It's not anymore. They have got a great new setup. And so I'm sorry I didn't use it before, but you send me your emails. I can hit you up to see when you're on. It's Eagles Are The Bomb. Eagles Are The Bomb. Eagle Are The Bomb at gmail.com. And we can do a conference on here where all these people, you'll be on the videos and we can talk more personal. So, and it's free. It's free. You know, I've been asked to kind of go to these other Patreon and these things, but right now I don't feel that that's for me yet. So I want to connect. So thank you. And as you know, I always end with Eshawn. So I'm not a New York rapper or LA gangbanger. I'm just an old school Detroit crack slinger. Thank you for joining the Chocolate Mountain Show. I appreciate everyone that ever subscribed to me, that ever liked my stuff. I appreciate you. I appreciate the comments, the interaction. Thank you so much, everyone. Until we meet again.